It's the same thing. It's both big government, and that's what the Tea Parties are really all about. No, both of those are wrong. We saw on the border, if you really wanted to protect us, you would fix the problem. You would fix the flood of illegal aliens coming across the border. Now we have President Obama. We didn't stop the flood of illegal immigrants. What are we doing now? With the spill? If this were really about the spill, we would first work on what? Stopping this. Before talking about energy and taxes and cap and trade or solar panels, or saying, don't tell me that we can't fundamentally transform the country into solar panels and green energy, you would stop the oil spill. You would get a tourniquet. This should be our priority. But it's not. He's saying this is a war, and yet he's only meeting with the CEO of BP for 20 minutes. The people on his commission know almost nothing about oil wells. Nothing. Except for the fact, egghead from a university, EPA, National Geographic, this is an environmental egghead, another egghead, and a political. This is the head. What's her name? Frances Behncke. She is the president of Natural Resources Defense Council. She's great. No oil experience. Nope. She's just the president of they're against traditional energy sources. She rejects offshore drilling. It will harm the states. These are the people that are going to help fix the well? How about we get some real engineers? How about have you seen the movie? What was that one where they wrote that stupid movie with Clint Eastwood where they got onto the asteroid? They got people that were working on oil rigs. What do you think we get some of those guys together? The president is using this to gain power, to take advantage of a crisis and use it to jam through legislation that would otherwise never have a chance. And right now, the progressives, the things they want to jam through don't have a chance. Leading Democrats now are saying there is no political will to pass the climate bill. So we need an emergency. Again, I am not saying that this is a manufactured emergency. I'm saying our response is the president wants to do what he believes is right. He wants to do what he believes is right. Pass the climate bill. But he can't. If he just had some people out on the streets to force him to do what he knew was right. Hey, wait a minute. I've heard that before. Get out into the streets and force him to do what he knows is right. I heard that at the Progressive America's Future Now conference. Do you remember the video we showed you with Van Jones? This is actually where they were throwing stuff at Nancy Pelosi because they were upset. Van Jones later told the crowd that the president is on your side and he wants to do things. But he needs the will of the people behind him. You got to start from the bottom up. Here's what he said.
This week will mark an historic inflection point when progressives decided to be progressive again in this country. I think something shifted this week. So now your challenge as you leave here, our challenge, is to take care of that bottom-up part and that inside-out part, the heart part. That's where we're weak now.
Yes.
And we have the chance as we move forward to take the old admonition from the South African movement and govern from below.
I hate to make fun of this guy because he's such a clown, but don't dismiss him. He can't go it alone. You got that? He needs an atmosphere that allows the president to do what he knows is right. The conference was summed up on the America's Future Now website saying, anyone who supports President Obama can do that by making him do the right thing. Well, let's see. Let's just look over the last couple of days. Who's making him do the right thing? I like this. Revolution, an oil spill disaster, and a system not fit to be the caretakers of the planet. That'd be capitalism. This one's really good. Stop the oil catastrophe. The people must act. That's kind of like what they were saying. In fact, it goes on inside the paper, and I'm going to get to more of this later on in the program. This is, by the way, a revolutionary communist newspaper available everywhere here in New York City. The people must act. Come to New Orleans and stop the oil catastrophe. We have a bold vision and a big plan to rally people to stop the catastrophe. What are you going down? Are you rallying with corks? What are you doing? How are you going to stop this? Protect the environment and spread the revolution. Revolution. Oh, yeah, that's right. Van Jones had his revolution thing, too. He co-founded a communist revolutionary where they were calling for the overthrow of the government. It was called STORM. If you haven't read the notes on STORM yet, his organization, still available at glennbeck.com. Read it now. Van Jones was right. He said at the conference something has changed. And even the people at NBC are noticing maybe something's not right. Watch this.
But I'm very troubled by the fact that the president has once again created his own sense of a legal system. It's not his job to create laws. It's his job to enforce laws.
Okay. It's not his job to create laws, but to enforce them. Yes, that's if you understand the Constitution. CNBC is noticing something is wrong. But the president couldn't get these things to happen unless those who want fundamental transformation are starting to create those conditions where the president can do what he knows is right. We've already seen it. Rosie O'Donnell is calling for the government just to seize BP.
Seize their assets today. Take over the country. I don't care. Issue an executive order. Say, BP, guess what? Call it socialism, call it communism, call it anything you want. Let's watch Rush Limbaugh explode on TV when he talks.
MSNBC,
seize the assets, take over.
MSNBC is the same network who said that I was crazy for saying that we are heading down a road that the world has been down before. A big government road that could eventually lead to a dictator. Maybe this president, maybe not. Maybe the next one or the one after that. It doesn't matter. Progressivism will always end in complete control. But listen now to MSNBC and one of their hosts.
Mr. President, I want to see the boot on the neck of BP tonight. I want to see some finger pointing, whether it's in your personality or not. And it's okay tonight to act kind of like a dictator and call the shots, saying this is the way it's going to be. Don't you think this is a moment where President Obama has to make sure that he lets everybody know that he's calling the shots, and almost in words of maybe a dictator, that this is the way we're going to do it?
They're calling, because he went on more, they're calling for him to actually be a dictator or act like a dictator. No thank you. No thank you. I get in hot water for showing how we are expanding government so much that if the wrong guy gets in, we will have a dictator. But MSNBC can literally demand that the president start being a dictator, and there's nothing. Everyone is saying that the president is in trouble because he's lost MSNBC, the Thrill Up the Leg network. Yes, yes, yes. It's almost like they're creating the conditions to force him to do the things that he knows are right. It's exactly designed like what Van Jones and other progressives at America's Future Now conference did. They're working from the bottom up and creating the environment where fundamental transformation can take place. And they're using every device they can. Time and everybody else ridiculed me as Howard Beale. Howard Beale, the guy from Network. They said he was dangerous. They said he was crazy. But now MSNBC can use this to their advantage. They're touting one of their hosts as a guy who is Howard Beale. They're touting him as that. In a profile interview, the host was asked about being, quote, an angry anchorman like Howard Beale, and the interviewer said the host was happy to acknowledge that. We need that guy from Network. At some point, everybody has to walk in the room and be like, none of you are solving the problem. Isn't it amazing that the media is now calling for an angry, forceful Howard Beale-like character from the president, just to get things done? One host is calling for a dictator. The media doesn't seem to have a problem with the president making his own laws. As it always is with the history of progressives, they are never responsible for their own problems. The solution is, well, I would have done more, but I didn't have enough power. And they always know better. I'm getting so many old books sent in by viewers. I have to read this. I just got this in before I went on the air. They always know better, these progressives. This is George Bernard Shaw. The intelligent Woman's Guide to Socialism and Capitalism. The intelligent woman. Well, if you're going to be intelligent, you should listen to them. I'll show you how this all ends if we do listen to them when we come back.